Hey everyone, what does it say? Share your screen with your audience. No, that's okay. Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. As you can tell, uh, it's a empty shop. We had the MR6 go out for alignment today, and went saw Chuck at Evans Auto, and he did a fantastic alignment. Took several hours because that car is kind of weird. It's difficult to align. We'll just say that. So we did. We got it aligned, and Chuck is cool enough, and George, the owner, is cool enough to let me hang out in the shop and help and watch and try and get all the specs necessary. Try and get everything exactly where we want it. And we're running full TRD specs on the MR6, which will hopefully. It felt great on the drive back to the house here, but we won't really be able to tell until we hammer it down. And it's so cold here. It's 30 degrees, 34 degrees here. So it's hard to get the tires warm enough to actually, put it down and test it. But it felt great on the drive back here. So we currently have an empty shop. The cars are in the garage or parked outside. A couple of the cars are parked outside right now. And we'll bring some of the other cars. The limo's going to come back in here for a night, and we'll get some touch-up stuff on that. But I figured since I had kind of I don't want to say a night off in the shop, but an open shop, I figured I would do something fun with you guys, and hopefully you enjoy this. I was talking with one of my other friends today on Messenger about the different stuff, the different content and different things that we're doing here on the YouTube channel. And I can probably lower this a little bit. The one thing we wanted to do was, when we're doing lives, do something a little more focused and a little more, try to keep it on topic-ish. So we'll try and do that. God, I got a bunch of crap on my glasses today from working on the MR6. You're underneath the car for a few hours. That'll happen. So the one thing I wanted to go over with tonight. Oh, wait, there's some messages from people. Hang on. Let me get the glasses on so I can see what the hell I'm reading. Who's here? Chat is disconnected. Okay. Wait. Unable to connect to chat. Please try again. I will just send out a test message. And you guys can tell me if that's working. So we were talking about something fun to do. And one of the fun things to do that can be kept pretty simple, and we can do a bunch of these to let people join in. And this is all supposed to be interactive, and it's supposed to be fun. And so one of the things we talked about was driving stories, and these can be anytime from when you first started driving to yesterday or even earlier today. So that's out there for folks. If you guys want to post your stuff, that would be cool. Definitely put it in the comments, and do that after you subscribe. That would be great. I would appreciate that. And so I just have a ton of driving stories. I've been driving for a very long time, and I've driven in conditions that would make you cry, and I've driven in conditions that are absolutely unbelievable. Probably my favorite drive ever was last year, Tail of the Dragon with the Viper. Although I didn't have a great clutch, it was in absolutely perfect weather, perfect people to drive with, perfect passenger, perfect everything. The only thing I would have changed was I would have started driving as soon as the sun came up. That was the only thing I would have changed at the other Tail of the Dragon trip, not the Viper trip, the one I did before that. So that was probably no, sorry, it wasn't last year. It was the year before. Yes, that's correct. 2022. Tail of the Dragon with a bunch of friends from here in Ohio, and that was my best non-race driving experience, like public roads, that sort of thing. So that was probably my favorite. Second favorite would have been when I took the Miata down to Tail of the Dragon, and it only rained from like 2 in the morning till 4 in the morning, and it was sunny every day. Just top down on the Miata, cruising those roads down there. That's probably my second favorite. That one was pretty amazing. The roads down there are really, really great. They're something special. You should definitely go check it out. Not so much Tail of the Dragon, but Foothills Parkway, which is the best road in the U.S., and Cherahalla Skyway, second best road in the U.S. So if you get the chance, go down there. Gatlinburg's a little touristy, and Pigeon Forge is very touristy, but the roads, wow, they're worth it. And this year I'm taking the Grom with me. I'm going to take the Viper, and I'm going to take the Grom with me. And when the Viper guys are done during the day, I'm going to take the Grom up in the evening, and there'll be a lot less traffic, and hopefully I can have some fun. And that's kind of a bucket list thing for me, is to do the Skyway, the Dragon, and the Parkway on the Grom. So I'm gonna do that and get them done in a car, get them done in on a motorcycle. I think that would be a lot of fun. So, this is my super tech guy, Mike Carlson. I've had problems with my email the last few days, and Mike's my super tech guy. And he said, domain's been restored. You should start seeing email flow in shortly. And all caps, thank you very much. Not very much, very much. There you guys go. You can see that was the text I sent. So yeah, Mike's awesome. He's in Faribault, Minnesota, which is another great road trip story that I'll tell in some of the series here. The driving from Steamboat Springs, Colorado to Faribault, Minnesota. My buddy Jeff and I used to do it a couple times a year. And you know what? I'll do that tomorrow morning. I will put up a fun picture on Facebook of Jeff and I during one of our trips, and you guys will see if you can pick out who is who. And yeah. Okay. Yeah, he sent me that picture a while ago. I should definitely put that up. That's fun. So one of the driving stories, I talked about one last night with drifting the 26 passenger bus, and that was a lot of fun. It was kind of scary at first because I thought I was going to get in trouble for it, but when the people started hooting and hollering and then started throwing money at me, that's when I said, hey, this is actually a lot of fun. We should keep doing this. So one of the ones I wanted to talk about, and this one's kind of special, and this one hits a little kind of close to home since I just lost my dad. But I had sold the vehicle that we called the Beast. It was a 73 Jeep Cherokee Chief, and it was my super badass off-road vehicle. First vehicle I ever rebuilt an engine in, rebuilt a transmission, rebuilt a transfer case. I did a ton of work on that vehicle, and that was I did a lot of teeth cutting, and I did a lot of wrenching on that vehicle, which was great. This guy, Tom Burtis, really helped me out and got me into this and addicted to this. And now that's why I have a kabillion tools. And so, yeah, I'm happy for all that. But I had sold the Beast to a friend of mine, and I had money, and I wanted to go buy a new car. So my dad had a Bronco 2. It was a company vehicle. He had a Bronco 2 at the time, and so we went down to Denver, to buy a car because there's a much better selection than what there was in Steamboat. In Steamboat, you basically had Ford trucks or Subarus. That was your choice. So I was like, Dad, let's plan a trip and we'll go to Denver. And the plan was to go to Denver before this big, huge storm came in. And we thought we had everything scheduled. We were ready to go. We left very early in the morning. We left before dawn, 5:36 in the morning, and drove to Denver. And it's about a 2.5, 3 hour drive. And that was in his Bronco too, and it was not very thrilling. My dad he did not drive very fast in the Bronco too. He was not in any kind of hurry or anything like that. It was a company vehicle, so he kept it kind of reasonable speed limit. By the way, this is brought to you by Rockstar. So we drove down to Denver. Mm. And this is pre-internet, so we didn't do, I couldn't do any like shopping or anything beforehand. So we went to where the major used car lots are, and there was a place on Federal, and then there were a bunch of places on Federal, and then I don't remember the other street that we were on. I want to say Wadsworth, but I don't think that was right. Someone can correct me in Denver where all the car dealerships are. But I had this, money burning a hole in my pocket, and my dad was kind of in a hurry because he knew that the storm was coming and he wanted to get back and make sure we didn't stay at night in Denver so that we had to, drive through this gnarly storm on the way back. So we were kind of, rushing it. I don't want to say rushing it, but we were definitely in a hurry. We didn't have time for bullshit or anything like that. So I went to a couple of lots, and of course, my dad picks out the most reasonable, economical, normal, whatever, car. Something that would be smart and good on gas and cheap insurance and all of that. And meanwhile, I'm wondering, like, where's the Ferrari dealership? Where's the, where are all the muscle cars? Where's all the cool badass stuff? Can I get something with a blower sticking out of the hood? Is that okay? Can I drive that in the winter? So, now remember, in Steamboat, where I lived, it snows 30 feet a year on average. Sometimes I get more than that. Sometimes I get a little less. So, um, while my dad's looking for something smart like the Bronco 2 or a Subaru or something like that, I'm looking for anything that has a hood scoop, anything that has huge meats on the back. And we're driving down, and I see this blue car, and I'm like, Dad, turn around. We got to go back in there. And we go into this. It's a used car lot, but it's not like a buy here, pay here lot. It was for like Chevron, Chevy or something. It was a major dealer, but it was their used car lot. And this is probably the oldest car on their lot. And it was a 1970 Mercury Cougar XR7. And it was blue, and it had Cragar SS wheels on it. And it was a hardtop, and it had a 351 Cleveland with a C4 transmission. There's an automatic transmission. And I was like, that's perfect for drag racing. That'd be awesome. And it had these huge meats on the back. I honestly, I don't even remember what tire size it was on the back. They were 15-inch Cragars all the way around, but I think they were 10-inch in the back, and I think they were 8 or 9-inch up front. So yeah, I think 15 by 8 up front and like 15 by 10 or 15 by 12 in the back. And just had these huge meats on the back. And I said, Dad, I want to go test drive this car. It's within budget. Let's go test drive it. And I drove it up and down, and I want to say I drove it up and down Federal, and like launched it from a couple of lights and checked the brakes and the steering. And the steering had a bunch of play in it, and the rear suspension was completely gone. It was basically a leaf spring. That was it. The air shocks had actually blown through their mounts, and they had come up through the trunk. So when you pop the trunk, there was no carpet or anything. No, actually, what did they have back then in the 70s? They had like that vinyl with the it's not carpet. It's like woven fabric or glued, semi-glued, whatever. It didn't have that either. It didn't have a spare tire. It did have a jack, just a screw jack, but that was it. And I'm used to what I had in the Beast. My dumbass, I had a jackal. I don't know if you guys know what those are. Big heavy duty jacks that try to kill you. Um, so we drive this car, and I noticed the rear suspension is not good. The car is kind of wiggly and it bounces, and there's no kind of control in the rear. And I'm like, Dad, this thing is perfect. I love it. And my dad's like, okay, well, you're going to spend a lot of time with Tom Vertus at the shop getting it ready, and you know, uh, if you want to buy this, this is on you. Remember, it snows a lot. I'm like, I'll get snow tires for it, which I eventually did. I had to get studded snow tires for it. And he's like, all right, it's your money, whatever you want to do. Just know it's going to be really terrible in the snow. I was like, yes, let's buy it. So I bought the car, and we're driving back to Steamboat. And as we get to Silverthorne, which is kind of the halfway point, you come out of Denver, go through one tunnel, you go through Eisenhower Tunnel, come down into Silverthorne. As we're coming down into Silverthorne, I can see the storm off to the west. And the difference is you have blue, sunny skies over here, and it is black as night at 4 o'clock in the afternoon over there. It is dark and it is not good. So my dad and I, we stopped in Silverthorne for gas because this is a huge V8. It's just going through gas. It handles terribly with the huge meats on the back. They were BF Goodrich TA radials, and they were in pretty good shape, but man, they had just it was really bad. It was bad. So we get to Silverthorne and we're getting gas. My dad's like, we got to hustle. We got to hustle back. So we're going to drive kind of fast, see if we can beat this storm. And I'm like, Dad, there's no way. It's already at Steamboat. There's no way we're beating this storm. And he's like, all right, well, we need to hustle and we need to do as little of the storm as possible because your car is going to suck in it. All right. So we move out and we're probably doing, 10 over, which is a lot for my dad in the company. He doesn't want to get a ticket in the company car. Nobody does, especially when he runs the company, right? That's really embarrassing. So he hustles a little bit in the Bronco too, and I'm trying to keep up with him. And literally, as we got out of Silverthorne, just before Green Mountain Reservoir, the flakes started to fall, and they were big flakes. And you can sort of see up ahead, and you can see the storm is coming in. It's really dark over there. It's white clouds above us here, but it's really dark clouds. And we're like, oh man. And we get to Kremling, which is kind of the two-thirds waypoint. And they used to have the largest stop sign in the world in Kremling. I swear it was 6 feet tall, just the stop sign, not the stand, the post that it was on. There's this huge stop sign. Now there's actually a stop light there. Anyway, we get into Kremling. It is dumping snow now, and the car is starting to get very wiggly. These are summer tires. BF Goodrich TA radials are not made for snow or wet or anything under 50 degrees. So I'm struggling. I am fighting, trying just to stay alive and keep the car on the road. And it is starting to come down hard, and it's getting dark. And now it's probably 6 or 7 at night, and it's really dark. Like we got to turn on headlights, but the snow is coming down so hard. The snow actually reflects the light back at you and blinds you. So um, it gets harder and harder. And as we get into Kremling, we're leaving Kremling, the snow starts really coming down. It gets super dark. We can't see anything. My dad actually turns off his headlights, but leaves his driving lights on. That's how blinding the snow was. We now have 3 or 4 inches of snow on the ground. The plows have not been through yet. We are the only two idiots on this road. And for 80 or 90 miles, that's it. You don't have anything else. There's not like houses nearby. There are ranches that are 10 miles away that maybe you could go get to a phone to, but we didn't have cell phones or anything like that. So we continue driving. We're going really slow now, maybe 10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour, all the way back from Kremling, all the way to Steamboat. It got so bad that my dad actually had to turn off his driving lights, and I had to turn off my headlights because the snow in between me and my dad, we were only 10, 15 feet apart. The headlights were blind. The light coming off of the snow was blinding me. So I couldn't even see my dad. So I had to turn off my headlights and just use my driving lights. So we were using my driving lights, and now you can't see the sides of the road either. There's no railings, there's no K rails or anything like that. It just falls off into like a huge field or a huge ranch. So you can't see the lines on the road or anything, and we're just crawling along this Bronco 2 and this 1970 Mercury Cougar that's all jacked up in the back. And we did. We actually made it over Rabbit Ears Pass in this really gnarly snowstorm. I'm pretty sure we got more than a foot of snow in that storm. But my dad and I made that trip, and we were pretty amazed that my car made it. You know, his Bronco 2 is in 4 high. He can do whatever he wants. He would have actually probably been able to go faster if my car had been able to go faster. If my car had winter tires or was 4-wheel drive or not a at the time it was only probably 300 horsepower car. When I finally sold it, it was over 400 horsepower. But I didn't make the wisest choice for that storm, but I did make the wisest choice for me overall. It was a smart buy, and I did a ton of work on that car, and it was great. I eventually went to college with that car, and I had a ton of fun in that car. Lots of burnouts in that car. So that was one of the stories, and hopefully you guys like that. And that was it's weird. That was one of those weird bonding moments with my dad when we finally got back to the house, which was super late. Um, he was I, he probably wouldn't say it, but I think he was impressed that I stayed with him, going up Rabbit Ears Pass, coming down, and not going off the side of the road. I think he was. I think he was impressed. I don't know for sure. Um, but it was a cool bonding thing with my dad. I enjoyed that. I did like that. Um, so I'm trying to think of another. I like I said, I have 100 of these. Um, so all right, we'll go back to Steamboat again, and this is more snow driving since we're kind of in that theme. And I'm working for the television station there. I'm working for Channel 24, and there is a new business that had just opened, and this is where Sombrero Stables is. In the summer, there was this huge parking lot. It's now technically I guess it's still a parking lot, but it has condos and its own gondola up to the gondola, which is kind of weird. So anyway, Sombrero Stables was here, and there was a horse riding thing. You could go and do trail rides, and then they had this big parking lot, and they had a big open field next to the parking lot. And this new business came in, and it was the Michelin Ice Driving School, and it was the first of its kind, and it was brand new, and they wanted to do some promotion. So they called us up, and we took cameras down there and went and rode with those guys, and then we did driving of our own, and it was it was absolutely amazing. It was, they weren't open to the public yet, so no one had been out there. They had full size OJ level Broncos. They had, I think they had like Lincoln Town cars, and they had a Mustang. They had a Bronco 2. They had a lot of Ford vehicles. It was definitely Ford sponsored, and they had a truck. I think they had an F-150 as well, and they were all stock. They weren't lifted or studded tires or anything. And the instructors were great, and they taught you how to manage turns, what happens when you lose traction, what to do, and all this stuff really helped. And that's when I figured out that the worst thing you can do when you get into a situation like that is panic. So if you remain calm and think about what you need to do, you're going to come out of it. And that has helped me throughout my entire driving career. So going and doing that school and driving with those guys that day really set me up for the instructing that I do today, and that I've done the last decade. And having that basis of don't panic. if you panic, you're going to make it worse exponentially almost immediately. So having that, and I don't want to say it's calmness, but having that thought process where you're like, I need to counter steer, I need to pull off the gas, I need to tap brakes. This is pre ABS, obviously. And, it's one of those things, it becomes something natural versus, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. And, jamming on the brakes and turning the wheel. You're just going to end up in the snowbank. They have these huge, like 8, 10 foot tall snowbanks. And it was a lot of fun. And we did, we crashed a bunch of cars into the snowbanks because they told us this is what happens when you come in too hot or when you just jam on the brakes and don't pulse them. And so they teach you, what happens when you crash, and then they teach you how to avoid that. And it was cool to learn to not panic. And we spent the entire day there, and we shot a ton of video. And this is way back. This is tube cameras. So what was my camera? Tom gave me it's a JVC KY 310 or 320, old school tube camera. That was my camera when I was at Channel 24. If you guys want to look that up, you can. It was orange, and I had a separate bag that had my deck in it, my half-inch deck, or no, 3/4 inch deck. Half inches beta and VHS. So yeah, it was, it was wow. And I used to haul that up the ski mountain and shoot people on 4 points lift line and stuff. Oh God, heavy rig, but that's how you learn, right? So we were out there the entire day, and it's ice driving, but what we were doing was a lot of basically snow driving. They do have, they ice up stuff, they hose it down with water and it freezes over. So you don't have any traction on that. And you have to sort of, when you get to that point, it's like at a racetrack. If you have wet grass and you go 4 off, just cross your arms, because it doesn't matter what you do with the steering wheel. It doesn't matter. It's not going to happen. Just cross your arms, keep your arms inside the car, because you're going to go into that wall, or you're going to go into that wall or whatever. And you want to keep your limbs, because if your arm's out here and you go into that wall, you don't have an arm anymore. So bring your arms inside, hold them right here, and wait for momentum to stop. Wait for physics to take over. And when you're on ice like that, even in 4-wheel drive, everyone thinks 4-wheel drive makes you invincible in the snow and ice, and it's not true. It does help you control the car, but you need to know what to do. And these guys helped us on what we need to do when we encounter black ice or just icy roads or snowy roads, and we learned really quick. And a lot of it I knew from going to high school. So I just transferred it into, a bigger vehicle like the Bronco or the Crown Vic or whatever else they had. Did they have they didn't have an LTD. What was it? They had a Taurus. They had a Ford Taurus. They didn't have an SHO. They had a Taurus. They had a few of these cars, and all of the people from the TV station went. Like Tom went, and CJ's wife went, and we had another audio guy there who went, and I went, and we all did kind of the full course. And it was good practice for them too, because they hadn't opened up yet with like students. So that was a ton of fun. And now they still have that ice driving school in Steamboat, but it's further outside of town. And if you know a guy named Tanner Faust, he actually taught at the new one that's outside of town. I was there a decade before him. And Tanner's a fantastic guy, fantastic driver. And he kind of, he did a lot of practice in snow driving and drifting and stunt driving when he's there. That's a great place to do it, because if you put a BMW into a snowbank, it's not as bad as putting a BMW into a K-rail. So you can really hone your skills and get good practice there. And he did, and he, it really paid off. I think the stuff that I did there, eventually paid off. I did a different route, but it definitely helps when you're in gnarly weather and you're in a rear-wheel drive car. When I'm in the Miata, I know, kind of what to do when I get caught in the snow or heavy downpour or whatever. So it really helps you. And the biggest thing, and I'll tell this to students today or in 10 years, don't panic. And I know that's a Douglas Adams thing, but the worst thing you can do is panic. So just kind of relax. I wouldn't say take a deep breath, but remember what you need to do versus panicking. Because if you panic, you're going to make it a lot worse. And when you're at the track, you're not only making it worse for you, you're making it worse for everyone else behind you. So that's why you don't panic. And I guess it applies to the street too. If you come through an intersection and you panic because your back end comes out, you're now making it worse for the oncoming traffic and the people behind you. So who are following you. So don't panic. Just try to remember what you should do, and you'll usually come out okay. Usually, not every time. Sometimes, sometimes ice wins, and you just end up on a sidewalk or end up in a ditch, and that's how that goes. But if you don't panic, you're less likely to end up in a ditch or on the sidewalk or in someone's living room. So those are fun stories. I love the ice driving school. I'm really glad that that I did that, and I'm honored that we were the very first people to do that. That was really cool, and it's cool that it's still going today. They it's not Michelin anymore. I want to say Continental does it or Bridgestone. I'm trying to remember who sponsors the school now, but they have much more higher performance cars and stuff with ABS, and they take off ABS, they turn it off so that you can experience sliding in. Um, it's a lot of fun, and that's some more snow driving. So since it's cold outside, we'll stick with the snow driving stuff. Um, and I drove the MR6 today. It doesn't have any windows, and that little heater trying to keep up with the cold outside. Nope, I had the big jacket on, gloves. I should have had a hat. Um, but yeah, that's where we're at uh, with the driving stories. So hopefully you guys like those. Um, I'll I'll look for comments, and like I said, comment below. Tell me one of your fun driving stories, whether it's learning to drive with your parents or your brother trying to sneak the car out one night and you totally bust him and he forgot to open the garage door and now you have to replace the garage door. Or, I know someone who tried to sneak a car out and they left the driver door open and they went up front and they pushed the car out, and then when they got to the edge of the garage door, it folded the car door back open. That was an interesting explanation at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, so if you guys got fun stories, I'd love to hear them, and definitely put them in the comments, and definitely subscribe if you enjoyed this. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll keep bringing you guys more fun, cool car content. Actually, working on car stuff. Although I'm not doing one tonight. I'm actually going to go. I've got the Kinkajous are coming out tonight, so I'm gonna try and spend some time with the girls in their natural nocturnal state, and I haven't done that in about a week or so. So I'm gonna try to have some fun with the girls. They love coming out at night. So and yeah, I think the girls are coming with me to Florida. So if you guys are looking for the Kinkajous, they'll be with me in Florida. But yeah, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and let me know what you guys think. If you want to see different stuff about cars or different stuff about motorcycles or jet skis or whatever, let me know. I'll do my best to bring it to you. Hopefully, if the weather breaks, we get different cars in here. And we've got a ton of other live stuff coming up that we'll do from whatever locations we're at. I'm going back down to Florida to buy a house, so I'll do some stuff from Florida, and you guys can check out all the cool stuff I'm doing down there. We're going to do a ton of car events in Florida. They're literally, I want to say it's literally every day, but I think for the month of February, I was just looking at the calendar the other day. for the month of February, I think there are 4 days where there's not a car event in Florida. And that's just from like Jacksonville to Miami, just that strip, not even doing the panhandle, not going into Georgia, just that little section. Even from like Orlando to Miami, I think there were 4 days in all of February that there wasn't a car event in Florida. And so, yeah, that's why you're wondering why I'm going there. Yeah. And I don't have to wear a jacket. I don't have to have long underwear on. Yeah. I don't have to have these thick socks on, keeping my feet warm. So, yeah, we're done with the cold. We're gonna start enjoying the warm, start enjoying the beach, and it also gets me a lot closer to Turks and Caicos. So, let me know what you think, and we'll keep doing that. If you want me to keep doing stuff like this, I'm happy to do that. But I'm gonna focus on fixing the cars and making the cars bulletproof. That's the fun part for me. I love doing that when it rolls out of here and everything works perfect. That's the fun part. So thanks for hanging out, you guys. I really appreciate it. What is it? 10 o'clock, 10:30. So yeah, I'm gonna go hang with the girls and let Kinky Juice crawl all over me and crawl inside my shirt and claw at my body. That's what they're pretty good at that. They have very, very sharp claws. And Rio likes to go in my shirt, and she doesn't use her claws on the shirt. She uses her claws on my skin. So I have all these claw marks. And it's nice that she crawls in there and curls up, but man, it really hurts. It really hurts. So I'll have a good time with the girls tonight. One of these nights I'll do, maybe when I'm in Florida, I'll do a live with the girls and you can watch them, bounce around and jump all over me. When I get a little different camera setup, it'll be a lot more fun with the girls. And that's it for now. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. And I'll catch you on the next live. We'll do it again tomorrow night. Okay? Cool. Thanks everyone. See you later.